All right, let's talk some Buck ball. I'll keep this short because I actually want to do a full review a little bit later in the week after I watch the coach's film. But I'm just going to have some initial reactions, so I'll do this after every game. We'll grade the three phases of football as a whole: offense, defense, and special teams. Two players that stood out on the plus end, two on the negative end, and just kind of talk about the game a little bit, but not the deep dive that I really want to do, because then you start to look into plays. How did this happen? Why did this happen? Stuff like that. I like to really go into deep detail. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, so without further ado, let's talk Bucks. 0-1. First one, before I even say anything else, let me make people aware of some things here, because I know a lot of people are running. I have a red soda here, somewhere here, in that panic button. Emergency, emergency. Chill. It's one game. One game. Do I need to remind? If you're a Buck fan, you should know better than to start freaking out after one game. Anyone remember John Gruden's his first year as a Buccaneer head coach? They played the Saints. They lost. And how did that season end? Now, I'm not saying they're going to go win the Super Bowl or even get to the Super Bowl. It takes time when you have new pieces. A lot of things have to mesh. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that is going to be a concern for a while. Play calling and comfort level with the receivers. It's going to take time, which leads me to the offense as a whole. I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I give them a C. It's passing, but not great, and here's why. We got on wincing about turnovers. It doesn't matter how they happen. You can't have them. I don't care whose fault it is. If it's the receiver's fault, the quarterback's fault. I'm not here to point the blame game and say, well, you blame Jameis for this. Why doesn't Tom get the blame? I don't care. You can't have turnovers. The offense had two. One directly in a touchdown, as we're used to seeing. Can't have them. Just period, point blank in the discussion. You can't have them. And you have two turnovers. So that's definitely disappointing. What also is disappointing is the fact that the offensive line played like ass. If I could put the entire offensive line as in my disappointing group, like as a group, I would. But I have a spot reserved for a specific person. Offensive line was bad. No holes opened up in the run game, and pass protection wasn't much better. I know the Saints have a good defense. They're a formidable unit. You can't do that. It does a lot of bad. Play action isn't as effective. Brady is starting to get a little antsy in the pocket because you just don't feel like the guy is going to protect the blind side. But you don't have a run game, and that's the thing. I mean, let me look. I know Fournette 5 for 5. We were making a joke about the $5 footlongs. They got it going a little bit in the second half. Problem is, you get behind, and it's a little bit easier to run because we're just going to play the pass. 66 on 17 carries isn't bad. We're not going to talk about the Brady sneak. That's funny, but yeah. As a whole in the passing game, I feel like I want to give it an incomplete because it's just not sure. I'm not sure what to make of it. I need more time to see the unit perform with play calling and all that stuff. When it did take a little bit of time for Leftwich to get find a comfort zone with Jameis. Okay, what can you do? What can't you do? What can I do to help hide some of your deficiencies, stuff like that. So he's going to have to go through that process with Tom. Understand. Not even freaking out. But touchdown pass to Evans, obviously the sneak. Touchdown pass to O.J. Howard. Great play call, and there's look like a little bit of a blown coverage there, but doesn't matter. The result is a result. And he had some really good throws. That dime in the fourth quarter to Godwin, and what gets forgotten because everyone looks at the box score again, this is where you need to do a little more research. Brady only threw for a little than 200 yards. He didn't have a great game. Did he not have two big pass interference calls, over 75 yards in penalty yardage from pass interference because he threw a great ball that led to the pass interference being called? You kind of give the receiver, Evans, credit for that. Because I've heard a lot of people, Evans only had one catch for 2 yards. First of all, he was hurt. But two, I think he only had two targets the whole day. You add those two pass interferences, his game looks better. Brady's game looks a little bit better too, but they did help. So offensively, I say they get a C. It's passing, but it's not great. Penalties, defense. I'm gonna give them a B plus. That's a little bit of a high grade. The reason that I give them a B plus is because Kamara was the big piece coming in. I said they had to find a way to stop him. I mean, other than the screen pass, they did a really good job of dealing with him. David made a great open field tackle on him, I believe, in the first half. Also stopped him from getting in the end zone as well. Under, after review, he didn't break the plane. And was it Sean Murphy Bunting had a big open field tackle with him too, because those are plays that Kamara has hurt us in the past. So tackling wasn't super sharp, but it was still really good. The defensive line, I know they didn't get to Breeze other than the one sack, but I thought they played pretty well. What people think about when they think of the defensive line is pressures and sacks. They only got one sack, but they shut down the run game. Sue, Vita Vea, accepting the double teams, creating the lanes for White and Levante David both had over double-digit tackles. 11 for David, 10 for White. I think that's White's third career double-digit tackle game. And I saw a stat that Levante David, the only person since David has entered the NFL that has more tackles for loss than him, is J.J. Watt. It's pretty impressive, especially since he plays linebacker. Some disappointing things, of course. Vita, you cannot get called for. As a defensive tackle lining up over the ball, you can't get called for offsides. Period. You can't jump. The ball's right in front of you. It's the little things like that is what makes it really frustrating to be a Bucs fan. You hurt yourselves. You keep the drive alive, and they go in and get a score. Can't have those. Absolutely can't have those. Jamal Dean, I really want to go look at that play because I'm pretty sure it was in quarters defense. So why you let your man, Mr. Cook, run right by you? Like, what were you doing? Were you looking in the backfield? I don't know. That shouldn't have happened. It's one-on-one coverage, and you stopped. And I don't know why you didn't end up being a big play. But outside of that, I'm fairly happy with the way the defense played. It's not like Drew Brees was lighting us up, other than a screen pass. It's not like Kamara was lighting us up either. The defense played great. They played good enough to win if the offense doesn't turn the ball over. And then that other unit, special teams. See, I wanted to give them an F. I really did. Sure. The only reason I don't. I'm going to give them an F. First of all, you let a field goal get blocked because Kappa doesn't even move. I don't understand how that happened because you have to kick the ball low, just over 50 yards, and you don't even. I don't even understand. It made no sense. And dude just walks in and blocks, and I'm just shaking my head and I don't know what is up with the special teams with the Bucs. So many blocked. If I remember right, maybe not last year, but the year before, they blocked 2 punts against us. What is up with us not being able to do simple, basic things on field goals and punts, just blocking? So that's a big L, because hey, if we make that field goal, or even if you miss, at least give yourself the opportunity to get points. But the one that just blew my mind was the kickoff play. You know what I'm talking about with Edwards. You just gave them the ball back. It's things like that just what hurts being a Buc fan, because it just makes no sense. It's just stupid. You are on the road playing against a team that most believe are contenders for going to the Super Bowl out of the NFC, and you don't play great offensively, but you play good. You play better than good on defense. I would say they played a pretty great game defensively, all things considered. But then you had a couple of bad spots mixed in. But the penalties and turnovers. Again, the Bucs -3 in turnovers. Believe it's like a 94% chance of losing the game if you lose the turnover battle by 3. It's the death knell. Stop turning the ball over. Plain and simple. All right. So to end this on a positive note, since they lost, since they won, we're gonna go out to negatives first. So I have my list here, so I want to pull up for and since I'm a wrestling fan, we'll go with the tag team. The losing tag team in this case, most disappointing. Number one, first and foremost, it isn't even close. Donovan Smith. You know, you get paid franchise left tackle type money, and we don't get a franchise left tackle. The thing about him is he's very inconsistent. He's not terrible, but he's very inconsistent. When he's serviceable, things are good. The problem is when he's inconsistent, then it's like almost like he starts to get in his own head. Um, he did not have a good game, both running, because there was a couple of times that run plays went to his side and it was tackle for a loss, and obviously the sacks and pressures that he let up, some of them bad fundamentals, which I don't know why we're having bad fundamentals when you've been in the league for like 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. I think he got dropped the same class as Jameis. And then I'm over it. He has to be better, point blank. If he's not better, we're going to have to see Blaine Gabbert, and no one wants to see that. Couldn't block for Jameis, you need to be able to find a way to block for Tom. Just point blank. So I don't know if it's the play calling or you're going to have to chip to help him out. We can't have him playing like this for 16 games if the Bucs are going to do anything. And then the second one is Mike Edwards again. Is a stupid turnover in on special teams, and essentially that, to me, that just ended the game. I know people point to the pick six, but to me that was the one. Like, dude, seriously, you just gave up a free possession. Nothing more I'm going to say on that. So the positives. So I'm going to go with a surprise. I feel like a lot of people said Vita Vea had a bad game. I think he had a good game. Now you take away the jumping off sides. Think about it. What is your job as a defensive tackle? It's supposed to accept double teams, help try to collapse the pocket, but the main thing is accept the double teams, so you're opening up lanes for your linebackers to have an easy job. It's no coincidence that both our middle linebackers had double-digit tackles. A lot of that goes to Vita Vea. Obviously, you can give an assist to Sue on that as well too, but Vita had to have had a decent game if you have two players with 21 tackles. Just saying. So good game by him, and definitely in the run defense. I know he didn't really get to Brady Breeze in the passing game, but that's fine. I'll take what I can get. Secondly, someone that may pop up a lot, and this one of the reasons I was really skeptical about drafting any Buccaneers on offense for fantasy, Scotty Miller. What a surprise. All the weapons on the outside, but yet his most targeted player is the slot receiver. Seems like a New England thing, doesn't it? The guy that's closest to the middle of the field is the guy that Mr. Tom's looking for the most, just like he did with Welker, just like he was doing with Amendola, just like he does with Edelman. Old habits die hard. I expect that to probably stay the same going forward. Miller is not a bad guy at all. Losing Humphreys, most thought that the offense would morph differently because we didn't have him, and we go more into throwing on the perimeters with Godwin and Evans. Miller, I'd keep an eye on him going forward. If you don't have him in fantasy, given the way that Tom likes to throw the ball, and as Leftwich starts to adjust his play calling during the games to what Brady's doing, I'd probably look at seeing if I could take a flyer on him, if nothing else, just to keep someone else from getting him and keep him on your bench. Just saying. Because with all the weapons that they have, it's going to be hard to get everyone the ball. But at the end of the day, when Brady needs to get the ball out, he's looking to get the hot read, and usually the hot read is either the running back or the slot receiver. So I expect Miller to have a pretty good season this year. Not saying he has a lot of touchdowns, but he should have a lot of targets. That said, it's one game. Buck fans. One. Relax. I'll do a deeper dive into the game later in the week, but we have the Panthers coming up. Everyone just needs to chill. Again, the Bucs lost their season opener in 2002 and they went and won the Super Bowl. Brady has lost 3 season openers with the Patriots, and I believe all 3 of those they went to a Super Bowl. The one I always like to bring up is the one they lost 35-0 and everyone freaked out. Remember when they got blown out by the Chiefs and Andy Reid? Everyone freaked out. It's one game, relax. Said, hashtag overreaction Sunday. It's just 1 week. A lot of football left to be played. Give them some time to get stuff figured out. Obviously, you don't want to take too many L's in the process, but losing at New Orleans to one of the better teams, not just in the conference, but in the NFL, is not something to start freaking out over just yet. That said, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in stream, and we'll take a deeper dive later in the week. Take care, and see you later. Go Bucs.